Welcome back for another video. With a big double game week up next, in this one we'll be catching up with what the top managers are doing, including their transfer plans, captaincy, free hit teams and the experts team. Let's get into it. Starting with the manager highlight, FPL Flares held onto the top spot in the experts league despite a score of 61 points. Still in a great position, 168th in the world, and he's got 2 free transfers and 10 doublers already. Did you manage to beat the experts average of 72 points? Shout out to Sankit with the biggest score in the league with 110 points. This week, not a single expert's rolling. 12% have made 1 transfer, 40% have made 2, 10% have made 3, and a massive 38% have got their free hit active, and we've got one of their free hit teams to look at later. There's also some bench boosts and triple captaincies active this week, chips absolutely flying. So with a huge number of transfers made, let's break down their top transfers in and out. The most transferred in player is Eze, 73% have picked him up. 148 minutes per expected goal involvement this season, which is comparable with Son and Watkins with 146 minutes per. And I've also included Elise here with 136 minutes per XGI, albeit significantly less minutes than the rest. He doesn't quite make the most transferred in list, 14% have picked him up. If you're on a free hit or wildcarding in Gameweek 35, then now is the time to consider differentials if you want to chase upside. And there's lots this week. Eze is just 6% owned overall, Elise 0.8%, and Mateta's been picked up by 31% of the experts, but just 2.8% owned overall. The second top transfer in is Cunha, 32% have transferred him in. A brace last match against Forest, and he plays against Arsenal and then Bournemouth in his home double. Arsenal have looked tired in the second halves recently. Although it's a very tough fixture on paper, there is potential for attacking returns in that game, let alone Bournemouth. So the most sold player is Son, 90% have dropped him, followed by Foden with 68% selling, and Haaland's been sold by 66%. So Salah is the next most popular midfielder transfer after Eze, 31% have transferred him in. Liverpool unable to overcome the 3-0 deficit against Atalanta, winning 1-0 in the second leg but knocked out. It's incredibly hard to pin down which Liverpool assets are the ones to buy this week beyond Salah, though even he's not looked his best recently. He scored a penalty won by Trent against Atalanta, but an otherwise quiet game and a big chance missed. These are the minutes played in that game. Robertson with 79, Trent with 72, Salah and Diaz played 66. Jota, Nunez and Gomez were subbed on off the bench, but they didn't have an impact. My best guess is that Diaz and Salah get the most minutes of the attackers. Jota and Nunez seem likely to start one each, having been named on the bench. The question not many are asking is, do we even need to triple up on Liverpool? Or perhaps the solution is to pick the safer players for minutes like Alisson, Van Dijk and then Salah. 21% have bought Van Dijk this week, 23% have bought Diaz. Pickford's the free hit's favourite keeper, 24% have picked him up for his home double. 20% have bought Henderson off the back of a clean sheet at Anfield last match. Palace have got the benefit of facing West Ham first, who just played on Thursday night as well, knocked out by Leverkusen in Europa League. Moving on to chip overview, there's lots to unpack this week. There's no wildcards active, 47% have still got theirs, and make sure you subscribe for the Gameweek 35 video where almost all those remaining wildcards will be active. 38% have got their free hit active this week, 6% are bench boosting, and 4% have got the triple captainship active. Alan Kelly's one of the experts with his free hit active, and here's his team. It's a 3-5-2 with Raya in goal, Munoz, Gabriel and Van Dijk in defence, Eze, Brereton Diaz, Salah, Luis Diaz and Saka in midfield, Mateta and Solanke as front two, with Sarr, Cunha, Aït-Nouri and Tarkowski on the bench. Here's what he had to say. I've gone with this draft with a lot of 50-50 decisions in there, where I'll either end up delighted or counting the opportunity cost. 3 Arsenal, 3 Liverpool and 3 Palace was inevitability for me here, as they're the teams I expect to perform the best over the outcome. Difficult decisions over whether to go 2 attackers or 2 defenders for certain teams. This existed far more for Arsenal than Liverpool. With Liverpool, 2 defenders was never really an option. So with both Salah and Diaz having come off shortly after the hour mark against Atalanta, I've gone for the 2 guys that I feel are most important to Liverpool's attack. As surely, with them only fighting on one front now, that will translate to minutes. Arsenal was more complicated, but I've gone for the double defence due to them having an obvious defensive advantage over everyone else of note in that game week. I've gone for Raya instead of Saliba, purely because I feel Saliba's attacking threat is relatively less to the Liverpool and Palace I've chosen, which took me away from Alisson and Henderson. Beyond this, Brereton Diaz is my only left field choice. I'm not even completely sold on it yet. However, with 5 returns in less than 600 minutes so far, and Burnley Man United being one of the more attractive doubles one could get from an out of position forward, there's a decent enough chance I go for him over someone like Cunha in my starting lineup. 8 Nori would likely bring about rejig if there is a proper positive news about its likelihood for minutes. Brereton Diaz might end up being the one to leave in those circumstances, possibly another Palace, Liverpool or attacker coming in instead of their defenders. We also heard from Tom, who's one of the experts taking a different approach this week, and he's got his bench boost active. His team is Raya, Van Dijk, Gabriel, 8 Nori, Munoz, Saka, Eze, Luis Diaz, Salah, Mateta and Solanke. On the bench he's got Neto, Zabarnyi, Palmer and Haaland. Here's what he had to say. The bench boost is currently active, but still fairly reliant on fitness of 8 Nori and Haaland, but 99% ready to hit the button. I did wildcard in Gameweek 26, and I've got 8 Nori and Munoz in place since then. Eze is captain, as now's the time to take risks. I'm hopeful of a 7th top 100k finish, current rank's 140k, but it pretty much depends on this week going well. It does leave me weak for Spurs and Chelsea doubles, but they are bad doubles, and 37 traditionally always brings rotation. I think this week made the most sense for me, because there's still jeopardy in most aspects of the table. By Gameweek 37, relegation, the title or top 4 could be done by then, and teams will rotate or play youngsters etc. Foden, Haaland and City defence all huge rotation risks in Gameweek 37 for the bench boost. Thanks for sending in both, and best of luck on the chips this week. Moving on to Gameweek 34 Captaincy, here's how the experts are faring this week. Interestingly, it's just the two names, Salah and Eze. Salah captained by 93% and Eze 7%. Salah's certainly not immune to rotation himself, nor early substitutions, though Eze's had plenty of early subs himself, but he's now to start both at least. Predicting player minutes is particularly important this week, not just with captaincy but players to transfer in, and it's really hard. FPL Review's got Salah top this week with 12.7 points, and then Saka second, who we've not even discussed. While Saka's going to be a very popular asset, the reason he's overlooked for captaincy is the drop in form recently. Over the last 6 game weeks, he's registered 0.79 non-penalty XG, which ranks 64th among all players. Or for a visual representation, FPL Radar's made 2 great graphics here. The left side is Saka's percentile data over the season, and the right side is the last 6 game weeks. Over the season, his numbers have been absolutely elite. Expected goals, expected assists, shots, touches in the box, etc. While over the last 6, there's a noticeable drop off. Probably a combination of being overplayed and the ongoing injury hindering him. The anytime goal scorer odds have got Salah top with a 67% chance of scoring anytime. The percentage is based on the assumption that the player starts both games. Darwin is second, but it seems less likely he starts both. Mateta with a 56% chance and Solanke 54% chance. Moving on to the experts team for Gameweek 34, factoring in all those free transfers and the free hits, is Pickford in goal, Gabriel, 8 Nori and Van Dijk in defence, Salah, Luis Diaz, Eze, Saka, Mateta, Solanke and Cunha. A few doublers on the bench as well with Neto, Zabarnyi, Munoz and Garnacho. So a full team of doublers, Salah captain and Eze vice. Now think about it, on the bench you'd put Munoz ahead of Zabarnyi, but I've already started recording so I can't be bothered to fix that. Let us know in the comments who your captain is this week. Are there any sleeper picks? Moving on to the experts' final thoughts and tips for Gameweek 34. Here's what they had to say. FPL Pattern says, Son to Eze is currently a lock, Bradley to a Liverpool defender is a lock. Trying to decide which defender is the hard part. I can go for the boring and safe option of Van Dijk, or take the chance on a more exciting punt in Robbo or Trent. Third transfer will likely be Foden now, but I'm still undecided on who to bring in out of Eze, Brereton Diaz or Luis Diaz. I'm leaning to Elise, I just need to hope he gets the minutes. Darren Howe's thinking outside the box. He's got one player on his free hit that doesn't double. He says all doublers on the free hit apart from Bruno. I feel that after 3 Liverpool, Arsenal and Palace, the other 2 slots are filled by teams with only one good fixture. So why not go for the talisman of the team with the easiest fixture, Sheffield United, that being Man United. Alex doesn't have a free hit or wildcard left. He says 70 points and a small red arrow to 14k. No need to panic, but no free hit or wildcard too is a slight concern. I'm planning ahead for Gameweek 37, so I'll be doing Son to Fernandes and then Salah to Son next week. I'll have 7 doublers from Gameweek 34 if Semenya is fit, plus Anana, Fernandes, Foden and Haaland. FPL Jack says, oh I won't do this one actually. And Villa Conan says, good luck to all you free hitters. Thanks very much for watching. If you appreciate the work that goes into these videos, hit subscribe to show support. A huge amount of work goes in behind the scenes. We'll be live for the deadline on Saturday as well. See you all then.